Everything that I talked about right now that has nothing to do with you praying, meditating, chanting mantras, kowtowing, offering incense. That's not the religion that I teach. Everything here I'm teaching you is every human being can think and examine and use their brain. The type of Dharma I like is use your brain one. Not listen to gossip, not listen to criticism, not listen to negative talk, not listen to talk that drag you down or make you confused or make you feel even more unhappy. That's the kind of Dharma I like. And sometimes when we give that type of Dharma, it must be dispensed at the level of the person and their karma. For example, a skillful Lama who knows that if a person does this action, the results will be like this and this and this and this later. And they have tremendous compassion for their friend or their student. They may ask the friend and student, hey, please engage in this practice, do prostrations, or go do Vajrasattva, or go do 35 confessionals, and do that for a certain amount of time. Why? After they finish the confession of Vajrasattva, they may not feel anything, but it avoids from that karma from accumulating, growing big, and getting them back years later. So the Lama is very kind. The Lama is very kind because they know, they understand, either by studying the scriptures or clairvoyantly. Either way. There are some Lamas who are clairvoyant, they know what's going to happen to people a few years later. Some Lamas are not clairvoyant, some Lamas are very well read in the scriptures, so they know that if you do this action, this result will come. Because the Buddha has stated clearly about karma, as best as we can comprehend it. So therefore, the Lama may say, you do this, you do this, you do this. And then the person say, oh, I did my etc. Hey, I did my prostration, but I'm still out of a job. I'm still unhappy, I'm still angry, I'm still not doing well. Like a little tagline I read recently on a sticket. I drink green tea, I light candles, and I meditate. But I still want to slap you. Don't you like that? I think that's great. It kind of sums up our spiritual practice. Something along that lines. So therefore, sometimes the Lama knows that if this action that you do is very negative, it will bring many negative effects to that person and other person. And they know that that person will not do any spiritual practice to purify it. The Lama may use very wrathful means to make the karma come out now. And when the Lama uses wrathful means to make the karma come out now, the Lama puts himself at risk. To lose your respect, to lose your confidence, to lose your faith. But the Lama is willing to do that. Why? The Lama has no agenda to get something from you, to get money from you, to get your praise, to get your admiration. The Lama is out to save you. So if a Lama is afraid of how he looks when it comes to saving someone, he has an agenda. So Lamas in our country, such as Saranji, that have no agenda, we can see clearly in their actions. They're very spontaneous, they're very wrathful, and they're very peaceful. It depends on the situation. Why? They have no agenda. They have no agenda to win your praise, win your confidence, or win you over in any short-term way. And even maybe you'll never meet the Lama again, but they remove that karma for you, so in the future, it'll manifest again that you can do Dharma somewhere else. There are many Lamas that plant seeds in people's minds, so that they know that during this time, that person can practice Dharma. They plant seeds and they make prayers that when Maitreya Buddha manifests, their seeds are open, they can receive Dharma. Some Lamas plant seeds for people a couple of thousand years later, a couple of 100 years later. Definitely. That is definitely. I know that because I know some Lamas who told me very privately that they give initiation. Sometimes they give initiation to people, although they know the person's going to hell. Why? When they leave hell, they'll have the initiation seeds so that they can do the Dharma. Whereas another person going to hell, they don't have the seeds at all. When they come out, empty-handed. Oh yes, I've heard my gurus tell me that quietly. Of course, they don't tell the students because no student wants to know he's going to hell. I mean, if you say to the student, hey, you're going to go to hell, they say, you go to hell. These days, the students tell back the Lama, you go to hell. Last time you say, oh, what can I do, Lama? Times have been different. So therefore, some Lamas are very skillful. Some lamas are very compassionate and very caring with zero agenda. And they're willing to put their reputation, their name, their learning, their status, who they are on the line by serving other people, by giving their money away, by scolding people, by listening to them, by staying up with them, by entertaining them, by giving them gifts. Why? The Lama has no agenda. Definitely not for himself. That's how you can check. So if you want to check your Lama, before you take him as a Lama, that's how you check if he has an agenda. If the Lama is very all the time in front of people, but behind he's a monster, then he has an agenda. If the Lama in front is a monster and behind is a monster, he doesn't hide that he's a monster, he has no agenda. Why is that? He's not protecting anything except you. So we label that what? A state that is less with ego or egolessness. Those methods are very powerful. If we're very, very fortunate, if we're very lucky, and I don't mean to be diplomatic in words, I mean it. If we're very lucky, we're very fortunate. If the Lama knows many negative things will happen to you, and they have so much love for you, the Lama may even beat you. The Lama might beat you and hurt you physically. And you may lose respect for the Lama or you may gain more faith, but definitely the Lama is purifying your karma. Why? The karma can manifest in any type of pain. Physical pain, humiliation pain, emotional pain, psychological pain, any type of pain. Why? That karma comes out faster. If we have a disease, it's easier to take it out when it's very new. If you let it take over your body, it's very difficult. So therefore the Lamas with no agendas, they're very kind. Chicken Trungpa has no agenda. And therefore, in number 2, he shows very unconventional methods. Why does he show unconventional methods? He has no agenda. He's not trying to impress you or to succor or to coddle your fears and your mind and your attachments. He's not trying to. So when he's not trying to coddle or to succor or to nurture your ego and to make it bigger, he uses what you call unconventional crazy wisdom. Why is it unconventional and crazy? It's crazy because one culture feels another culture's actions as crazy. Hindu sadhus who penetrate their bodies with spears and ropes and all that stuff, we call them crazy. When we don't do that to show an act of devotion, they call us crazy. So crazy is from a reference point from which you are born. Crazy is culturally conceived. Culturally conceived. So in this culture, I think if you eat dogs, they think you're crazy and disgusting. If you go to Vietnam, you don't eat dogs, they wonder what's wrong with you. So it's culturally conceived. Culturally conceived. In this society here, if you live with your mother, even you're 40 or 50, it's all right as long as you're not married. But in America, if you live with your mother or father, after you're 18, you're crazy. And your parents are crazy. And you hear that all the time. You hear parents all the time, your kid's already 18, you still have them in the house, you're destroying their life, you're crazy. Or kids or peers to tell their children, their other peers, you still live with mom and you're 18, like grow up, get a life. But here they say, oh, you're single, you don't live with your mom, and you're 45, why not? So which one is right? Which one is wrong? What's my point? If we come from this culture, we go to America, it looks odd and crazy to us. When we come to this, when we go from that culture to here, we look at it as very odd. Both have benefits and disbenefits. One is not better than the other. I'm not being diplomatic. Think about it. Think about it. There are people who never grow up who should live with their mom for the rest of their lives. Unfortunate for them. And there are people who are grown up who can do much more if they don't live with their moms their whole life and go under their protective wings. They have talents themselves. So it's not right or wrong. Similarly, when we say crazy wisdom, it's crazy because we're at this level, operating from this level, operating from this reference point, at that level. So when we operate at that level, and someone is judging from this level, they will call it crazy. Why? Because this person has no agenda. This person does. So to operate from no agenda, perceived by an agenda-crazed person, the agenda-less person is crazy. It's very simple. It's very, very simple. So we say, well, if you put us in a very difficult predicament, you Tibetan Rinpoches, you put us really in a very difficult predicament. Then you tell us to check our lamas before we hook up with them. Yes. How do we check if we're here and they're there? By their students, by their long-term actions, by what they do for their monasteries and their organization. How much they can give up for others. How much time, energy, sleep, love, care, finances, reputation they can give up for others. How much? How much they can give for others. You can see the result matches the person's motivation. So we can't examine the gurus. I certainly can't go run around and examine some high guru to see if he's pure or not, but I look at the actions. I look at his residence, I look at his people, I look at what he does, I look at his possessions, I look at how he acts, and if he's totally obnoxious and loud and whatever, I'll look at what's the effect of the students later on to them. Even if some students have run away, do they have regrets? Do they still love the Lama? How do they feel? Then we know the Lama's motivation. We know that's how we examine. So how do we examine a Lama before we accept the person as a Lama? By the result of the person's action. To examine directly, you will have to be at that level or higher. At that level or higher. So if you're not at that level or higher, you're not able to examine, so you're confused. But if you're at a higher level or equal level, you can examine.